Hi, I'm Rich Luhr, editor and publisher of Airstream Life magazine, and I'm here with Laura today. Today, Laura and I are going to show you how to change a tire on your Airstream by yourself. Now, Laura's the perfect person to do this with because you've never changed a tire on an Airstream before, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so this is going to be her first time and you get to watch it on video. With all the good and the bad that may result. Now, it's really not hard. And the reason you want to learn how to do this is because changing a tire is not difficult. It can save you a lot of time rather than waiting by the side of the road for roadside assistance to show up. And it's really not difficult. People think they can't do it because they don't have the skills, knowledge, they don't have the strength to move around a heavy wheel and things like that, and they don't think they have the tools. Well, they're right about not having the tools because you didn't get a set of new tire changing tools with your Airstream, and the ones that came with your truck won't work for this purpose. So you do need a toolkit. So we'll start with the toolkit and we'll walk you through the process. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at the tools you're going to need to do this job. Now, we put together this toolkit and sell it in the Airstream Life store. And you can put together a kit just like it for yourself, or you can buy it ready-made. The first thing here is your fashionable one-size-fits-most safety vest.
Ooh.
And this is designed to keep you from getting hit by a car if you're working by the side of the road, or even in a parking lot. It's just good to be visible. Just throw it on over your clothes before you get started. We're not going to do that today.
Okay.
You can avoid doing it. Then we have a big wrench. This is called a breaker bar, and it's a half-inch drive size, which is referring to this part here. But basically, it's designed to give you a lot of leverage to get the lug nuts off. To be able to reach those lug nuts, you're going to need an extension, which snaps onto the breaker bar. There you go. And you're finally going to need a socket. Now, most Airstreams take a 3/4 inch socket. However, in recent 2017 production, Airstream changed to a 13/16 socket. So
Keep it on your toes, Rich.
the kit we sell normally comes with the 3/4 inch socket, but you should definitely check if you're putting together and make sure you've got the right size socket for the lug nuts. This particular trailer takes the 13/16. There you go. Okay, we're going to need a couple more tools, but we'll get to those in just a moment. The first thing we need to do, now that we've got our safety vest on, is go over and break loose the lug nuts on the wheel that's gone flat. We're going to pretend it's this rear wheel right here.
Okay.
Okay, now go ahead and put the wrench on one of the lug nuts. Right, now like this. Now we're not going to do it with your arms because that's the hard way to do it. Instead, we're going to use your feet and your body weight to get this thing off. So let's go ahead and stand up and put a foot right here and then just push down on this bar until that lug nut comes loose. Go ahead, lean on it. You won't hurt it. There you go. Okay, now you're going to repeat that. Just 1 or 2 turns is plenty. But you want the wrench pointed out so you can stand on it. There you go. Make sure it's on there good and firm. Yep.
Okay.
All right, same thing. If it's tight, use your foot. Oops. There you go. There you go. Yeah, you don't have to be afraid of it. You can definitely put some pressure on it. It won't hurt it.
Okay.
Your only concern probably is falling off of it. So, I understand that. All right, so, yeah, right there. Now, the reason I show you this technique is because it doesn't require any strength. Anyone can do that, all right? As long as you keep your balance and don't fall off of the wrench, you can break all the lug nuts loose by yourself.
Just as simple as balancing on a wrench.
Exactly. So we've got a couple more to take loose here. There you go. All right. Just give this one another spin there. Okay. Let's see. I don't think we did this one yet. Nope.
Now, does this need to be done in any particular order, or just?
When you're loosening them, the order is not important.
Okay.
As long as you get them all loose. Okay. That's it. That's a tight one, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. There you go.
There.
All right. So, give that one a spin. Did we get this one? Nope, we didn't
Apparently
do that.
not.
There we go. One more. Okay, good. Okay, now they're all loose. All right. Now that we've loosened these lug nuts, we can go ahead and raise the trailer so that we can get this wheel off. Notice we're not taking the lug nuts off all the way yet. We just wanted to loosen them.
Is there a reason we can't take the wheel off now and then pull it up onto the?
Well, the wheel's
box?
on the ground, so you can't move it right now. All right. We loosen the lug nuts now because the wheel's in contact with the ground, and that way, when we try to loosen the nuts, the wheel won't spin.
Okay.
Once we raise this wheel in the air, we wouldn't be able to get those lug nuts off.
All right.
All right. So next step is to get our blocks. And these are just ordinary leveling blocks, which every Airstreamer should have. And we've already set up a little pile here. Put them right in front of the wheel, And this is just like leveling up at the campground. So you can go ahead and grab the truck and pull it forward until it's on the highest block. We've got 4 levels of blocks here because we want to get this wheel as high as possible. Now you notice something. We're not raising the flat tire, we're raising the not flat tire. And that's the whole point. We want to get that part of the trailer up so the other tire will hang free in the air.
Okay.
Okay, Laura. Now, as you know, the spare tire is in a little holder underneath the front of the trailer. If you look down in here, you're going to see a bar and you're going to see a cotter pin. All right, we want to grab that bar with your left hand and lift it up just a little bit to take the pressure off. Pull out the cotter pin and then knock that other pin out of there too. Go ahead. You made it look easy. Now, to get that tire out, you're going to use your legs because your legs are the strongest part of your body. So you're sitting on the ground, you're going to push on that tire with your feet and work it out towards the front on the opposite side. Pretty easy.
Yeah, not too bad.
All right. Now we'll go get the tire and put it on. Okay, so let's recap. Up to this point, we've gotten the lug nuts loosened, we've put the trailer up on the blocks, and we've pulled out our spare. The next step is to make sure that this spare is good to go, and that means checking the air pressure on it. This spare is a Load Range D Goodyear Marathon, and printed right on the side is that it takes a max pressure cold of 65 psi. We want to make sure that the tire has no more than 15% less air than that, because if it's underinflated, it can actually be dangerous. It can fail on the road. So go ahead and check the pressure and let's take a look.
Okay. Now, Rich, when you say cold, is that talking to the outdoor temperature, or is that talking about never having used this?
That's talking about never having used this. Cold doesn't really have anything to do with the outdoor temperature at all. It's simply a question of whether or not this tire's been rolling or not. Since it just came out of the spare carrier, it's cold.
Okay. All right, we're at 62 psi.
62 psi, perfect. We've got plenty of air. So we'll just go ahead and put the cap back on. This is ready to go. The next step is to take the wheel off, the flat tire.
Okay. Now I've put the parking brake on in lieu of chocks on the leveling blocks here.
Excellent. And I should have mentioned, not only is the parking brake important to keep the trailer from rolling, but also putting on the 4-way flashers is a good idea because that's going to flash the lights on the Airstream as well.
Okay.
So you've got extra visibility there. Okay, so go ahead and use your breaker bar to continue removing all 6 nuts. See, they're nice and loose now, so it's easy. Okay, once it's loose like that, you can go ahead and switch to the next one, and then just take them off with your fingers, like I'm doing here. That works too. Now, if you had a cordless drill with a socket adapter on it, that is a really great way to get these nuts off in just seconds.
Now, this might be a stupid question, but can you use the same adapter with an electric drill or cordless drill to put your stabilizer jacks down?
Yes, you can. As a matter of fact, that's one of the reasons why I always have a cordless drill with me. It's just super handy. I use it on the Hensley hitch, I use it on the stabilizer jacks, and occasionally changing a tire.
Okay, but it's the same fitting?
You'll just need what's called a socket adapter that goes from the cordless drill to the socket.
Okay, so it's not the 13/16 or...
Oh no, it is the 13/16 socket, but you need an adapter to be able to use that socket with a cordless drill.
Okay.
And that adapter is about a $2 or $3 item at the hardware store.
Okay.
So it's not a big deal.
As much as I would love to argue with you all day about stabilizer jacks, we got a tire to change.
Yeah. That's true. I can hear the traffic whizzing by. Now you notice when we get all these nuts off, the tire is still held up by studs, threaded studs. That's what it's actually resting on right now.
Okay.
So it's not going anywhere at this point. However, it is now free to go away. So we're just going to put these somewhere safe. And you can go ahead. No. That's the hard way. All right. Now you can take it off with your hands. If you're strong and burly, you can just grab this thing and wrestle it off. Most people don't want to do that. The easier way is to sit on the ground and use your feet. I'll show you. I'm going to sit down here and put my feet underneath the edges of the tire like this. That takes the weight off of it. Now it's really easy to remove.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So sit down there and do that. Take the wheel off. Pretty simple. All right, there you go. Now, same technique to put the spare back on. The only trick here is that you've got to line up the holes with the studs.
Okay.
And that's where, again, lifting it with your feet a little bit to take the weight off makes things a lot easier.
We'll get there. Okay.
You want me to show you?
Yes, please.
Let me show you the shirt. Okay. You almost had it. It's really not hard. But you got to get in nice and close and lift it up with your feet. Really lift it. See, look, I'm doing all the work with my feet.
Okay.
All right? I'm not just putting them under there. I'm lifting it with my feet. And then I'm going to try to locate those studs. Oh, way out of alignment right now. There we go.
Okay.
I know, it's not super simple, but it does help a lot to use your feet to take the pressure off.
Can I try it again?
Absolutely.
And again.
Don't worry, this is the kind of thing that takes practice. I've probably done it a few more times.
Almost.
You're so close.
At this point, you probably have several people that have stopped to help you.
And that's a great thing. One of the things I found out about an Airstream is if you just stand next to your Airstream with a tool in your hand and a puzzled look, congratulations, people will come to help. But you got it on. You can take your feet out. It'll hang by itself. The next step is to take your lug nuts and spin them back on with your hand, one at a time. Again, you're only going to get them finger tight right now, because we'll do the final tightening a little bit later. Now you'll find as you tighten these that the wheel begins to center itself. So the nice thing, the idea here is to tighten them all with your hand to get it roughly centered, and then take your tool again and tighten them just a little bit more. Now when you're tightening lug nuts, there's a pattern that you should observe. You want to do a crisscross pattern, so you tighten one, then the opposite one, then another, and the opposite one. No, that's the wrong way. There you go. And then another, and the opposite one. And that's designed to keep the pressure. Once the wheel starts to spin, stop. You'll do the rest of it. So now the opposite one. Okay, good. This is called a star pattern, or crisscross pattern. Good. Good. That's as far as you need to go right now. All right, so now it's basically on, but it's not torqued. To finish torquing it, we have to take the trailer off the blocks and put the wheel back on the front. Okay, so we're now in the home stretch. We've got our wheel on, our lug nuts are loosely tightened, we're off the blocks. It's time to correctly torque the lug nuts to the proper tightness. And for that purpose, we're going to need our friend, the torque wrench.
Is there any reason we can't use the bar that we just used to get the lug nuts off?
You could use the breaker bar, but you won't know the proper tension with the breaker bar. You just have to do it by feel, and most people don't know what 90 or 100 foot-pounds is supposed to feel like.
Okay.
Airstream gives you a rating for the type of wheel that you're putting on. A steel wheel will have a different torque rating than an aluminum one, for example. It's in your owner's manual, so you need to look that information up. I can't give it to you because it does vary according to the kind of wheel you might have.
Okay.
But for this one, we're going to say this one takes a 90 foot-pound torque rating. All right. So we're going to need to tighten all these bolts to 90 foot-pounds, and the only way to do that accurately is with the torque wrench. The torque wrench has a scale on it of foot-pounds, and it's a simple matter of loosening this bottom nut and then turning this until it reaches 90. Well, we're going to go to 90. So I'm going to keep dialing it here. It's really tight.
What are the numbers around the base here for?
Those are basically 0 to 10. So that's in between the little bars on the torque wrench between 90 and 100. If you needed 95, for example, you could get 95 exactly.
Nice.
So, right there. That'd be 95. So I'm going to dial it back to 90. And then we're still going to use the same extension and socket that we used before. Now, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, right? So we're going to be turning it this way this time.
Okay.
So it's easier to do it from this side. Oops, right now it's in reverse mode. There we go. And do it over here. So let's switch positions and you can do it there.
So how do I know when I've reached the maximum torque?
You're going to feel the torque wrench click, and you'll hear it too. So just keep going until it clicks. There. Did you feel that?
Yeah, it almost felt like I was breaking it.
No, remember our star pattern. So you did this one. You're going to do the opposite one. There you go. There you go. It's that easy.
Very cool.
Okay, now you've removed the lug nuts, and anytime you remove the lug nuts on an Airstream, you should check them again after you've driven a short distance. Airstream even puts a warning sticker right on the trailer, right here, about
10, 25, and 50 miles.
Exactly, that's their recommendation.
Okay.
3 times should be fine. You'll need to check it with the torque wrench each one of those times, all 6 nuts, and see. What you'll find is as you go down the road, it will loosen up a little bit. Some of those will turn a quarter turn or so until they seat. And it takes 25, 50 miles or so before that happens. So that's why the reason for that recommendation. Once they've seated after 50 miles, you shouldn't have to check them again. Since this is the spare and you're probably going to fix the other tire and put it back on, you'll have to go through this process again when you put the other tire back in place. But that's why the torque wrench is super important. And there's one more important thing about the torque wrench. Because it is a calibrated instrument, it wants to be stored at 0. So you need to dial back out the torque setting that you put in. Get it all the way down to the 0 mark before you put it back into its protective case. That way it'll stay accurate.
Okay, great.
And that's it. You've done it. Any questions?
No, not right now. I'll
Okay.
call you when I get my next flat.
Good. I'll be waiting for the call. So it's really all that easy. Changing a tire on an Airstream isn't magic. It's a matter of just knowing what you're doing and having the tools with you and having some instructions. The toolkit that I sell in the Airstream Life store comes with a printed instruction guide, so you don't need to remember all this. If you want to get it from the store, that's great. If you want to put together your own kit, that's great too. The important thing is that everybody has tools with them and the knowledge to change the tires so that they don't have to depend on the kindness of strangers, because sometimes that could take a long time. Anyway, Laura, thank you, and I want to say thanks to Lazy Days for providing a brand new Airstream for us and a place to shoot this video. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments.